the city clerk's office is a unique office because we deal heavily with the public. However, we don't necessarily um, interact as much with the administration. And what I mean by that is a lot of what I do and what we do in our office is kind of over the oversight we have is directly with the Secretary of the State's office, Department of Public Health, Elections Enforcement Commission, Department of Revenue, and basically federal and state agencies. So if, like I always tell the mayor's office, if they're not getting any phone calls, then they're in good shape. So I think so far we've done a good job about doing that. This is going on year number 6 for me. And I think that we've made some really good adjustments to improve the overall efficiency of the office and making it easier for the public to access the records from and also from any personal computer. So at this point, I think our budget is probably one of the smallest budgets in terms of the government side. So I'm not really sure if you guys have any questions. I think if you look at the proposed budget, most of the increases all have to do with benefits and mostly things that I don't really control anyway. Other than that, there hasn't really been any real big changes. All I see mostly is decreases. So we've been able to take and manage with less and doing more. So that's been kind of like the theme the last couple of years is the offices are trying to do more with less. I think we're just learning how to be more efficient. And I think that's a testament to technology and the advances that it has provided everyone. So I'm not sure if you guys have any questions in particular, but if so, please ask away.
President Dominguez speaking. I'm going to start. I just want to comment really quick. I believe, Jonathan, City Clerk Ayala, I guess for the past 6 years that you've been the city clerk, I think that, you know what, the office has been well managed. You have done an excellent job, a phenomenal job, if I may say. The other plus two for me is that you speak Spanish. We have a lot of our, close to more than 30% of our residents speak Spanish, and many come there for birth certificates, for wedding certificates, and so on, for purchasing homes and everything else. So I really do am very appreciative that you're able to communicate with both, you know, English speakers and non-English speakers. So with that said, I'm going to open up to Councilor Goodwin. Do you have any questions for City Clerk Ayala?
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Goodwin speaking here. I do not have questions at the current time. If they do, I'll reach out directly. But again, echoing what you said, thank you very much for all of your services. And it is always a benefit being bilingual in such an urban city. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Goodwin. President Dominguez speaking. At this time, Councilor Sadi, do you have any questions for City Clerk Ayala?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Actually, for Director McBride, present budgeted salary for regular payroll is $156,930. 2% of that would be $3,138. You have a budget increase in that line item of $13,551. The reason for that would be what?
I am unable to access that file, so I'm going to have to get you that information as well as the detail that you asked before on the salary, tax, and benefits. So I apologize for not having that, but I will.
Second question is also to Budget Director and or Clerk Ayala. CMER's contribution has been decreased by $2,300 and postage decreased by $3,000. And I'm just wondering why those two line items have been decreased.
So for CMERS, I'm not really the one that could answer that intelligently. I will say that for the postage budget, it was a question that I did raise to the director. And this is Jonathan Ayala, City Clerk speaking. I'm sorry, new method of doing business. Thank you. As far as the postage, I believe that Director McBride and the Finance Department, they have been able to take that postage line and consolidate it somewhere else or put that line item in some other department. And I did raise the question because we do use quite a bit of postage, but to my understanding, it's a budgeted line item in a different department now.
This is Director McBride. That's correct. We've consolidated that along with some of the other departments. Thank you.
That is, now that I think about it, you're absolutely correct on that one. We were notified of that either last night or 2 nights ago. Thank you very much. I have no further questions at this point in time.
President Dominguez speaking. For the record, that was Councilor Sadi. At this time, I'm going to ask President Pro Tem Nartates, do you have any questions for City Clerk Ayala?
I do. This is President Pro Tem Nartates' question. So you have 2 employees that report into you, correct?
Correct.
And they are city clerk assistant and also a technician. Are
No.
those? No, that's not true. Assistant city clerk and records technician. That's what I'm reading.
No, that was a mistake as far as titling that was put in. I did notify the finance department that title is incorrect. We do not have an assistant city clerk any longer. They both are records techs, or
Okay.
what the state would officially call registrar of vital statistics.
President
And are
Dominguez
those-
speaking. For the record, that was City Clerk Ayala responding.
So are those 2 positions, this is President Pro Tem Nartates, are those 2 positions, are those union positions? Meaning that the salaries are stepped? They're step salaries?
This is Jonathan Ayala, city clerk. That is correct. They are
Okay.
both union employees.
Okay, they're step salaries. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. That's all I have, President Dominguez.
Okay, President Dominguez speaking. I would like to have now Councilor Dice. Do you have any questions for City Clerk Ayala?
This is Counselor Dice. Thank you, President Dominguez. I just have a statement. I'm thankful that you're able to do less with more with less, but I appreciate your service because I'm noticing during this time that you guys people have to set up an appointment to visit there to get things that they need, if I'm not correct.
This is Jonathan Ayala, city clerk, responding. That is that is somewhat correct. So currently, anyone who wants any vital record, that service has always been available by mail. So you can request any record by mail. That option has always been there. So that really hasn't, us closing to the public hasn't really eliminated the ability to access the records. Also, all of our land records, I believe effective a year and a half ago, I implemented a new land record system that allowed everyone to access the land is for marriage licenses. And the only reason for that is because the couples who are getting married have to come in physically in person to sign the record. So that currently is the only appointment-based service that we are providing.
This is Counselor Dice speaking. And again, thank you for sharing. And we're very glad to have you working here in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, President Dominguez.
President Dominguez speaking. At this time, is there anyone else? We still got about maybe 5 minutes or at least 4 minutes that may have. Okay, I see your hand, Councilor Burke. You have the floor, sir. And then Councilor Booker.
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Burke. A question to the Director of Finance. I opened up the revenues tab trying to find this on the fly and didn't know if you might have it. Just, I know that the city clerk's office is a revenue producing office. I know I've misplaced my kid's birth certificate several times to the tune of $22 or so. And just wondering, if we have a comparison based on, what their budget is, what the increases, what the revenue production out of the city clerk's office is.
I'll have to spend some time looking through the revenue line item detail. And are you looking, I can get you that answer. Are you looking for a comparison to prior year actuals that you would like to see?
Yeah, Director McBride, you can certainly happily get that to me after the meeting and email it to me. Just something I'm curious to look at. Second question was to Jonathan Ayala, just on office supplies. Now, I was actually, looking back a couple of years, I was actually surprised to see this number so low. I'd imagine your office would be using a lot of office supplies. I see we had around 2018 and 19 budgeted for. It looks like we're doing pretty good to come under that. So you're comfortable with the 3,000? You think that's a solid number to hold to for office supplies this year?
Yeah, so I think that we're fine for now. I don't see us having to pass that number. I think in the past it was the assumption was that we were going to get like new computers or things that before IT wasn't as well established as it is now. So thanks to the IT director. So I kind of budgeted to try to improve the office, but now that you have a good team on board, I think with that amount, I think we're safe.
This is Councilor Burke responding to, and thank you very much for that. And Jonathan, just thanks for all the help that you've provided me with election paperwork and petitions over the years. And this was Councilor Burke. Thank you very much.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Burke. Councilor Booker, you're on.
Yes, thank you very much, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Booker. Mr. Ayala, I just want to thank you and your staff for the phenomenal job that you are doing and providing services for everyone in our multicultural community. So thank you very much for everything that you're doing. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's Councilor Booker.
Thank you, Councilor Booker.
President Dominguez speaking. Once again, on behalf of myself and all the councilors, thank you, City Clerk Ayala, for the work that you do on behalf of not only the city, but its residents. At this time, we'll have 2 minutes and we will be back at 6:30 with Human Services. And that will be tab 40. Thank you.
Thank you.
At 6:30 at this time, we're going to convene. We have Human Services, which is tab 40. In place of Jeannie Milstein, we have Marina, who is the Senior Center Coordinator, who will be representing her at tonight's meeting. With that said, is Marina, are you on?
Yes.
Okay.
Again, good evening, President Dominguez and members of the City Council and the Finance Committee. I know that Jeannie sent in a report about a portion of the administrative budget for Human Services. I am here to answer any questions about the senior center budget and any questions that you may have about the Whedon Fund. I hope that that's sufficient.
Yes, yes, this is President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Marina. And at this time, I'm going to open up and have Councilor Goodwin. Do you have any questions right now at this time?
At this present time, I do not. Thank you. Councilor Goodwin speaking.
Thank you. This is President Dominguez. Thank you, Councilor Goodwin. Councilor Sadi, do you have any questions at this time?
Yes, the same question I have just about every budget. FY 2020 budget for regular payroll is 219,000. I see an increase of 15,574. A 2% increase would be 4,390. Where is the other 11,000 going?
Okay, so is this the this is Coordinator Rasevic speaking. Is this from the Human Services Administration budget or the Senior Center?
It looks as though Human Services / Senior Center, but to be honest with you, that may be an answer that I would like to have Director McBride answer.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I'm going to have to look into that. I can't access that file from my records. I believe it may have been a change in alignment between the three divisions, but I will have to get back to you on that one. I apologize.
Thank you. No further questions at this point in time. Councilor Sadi signing out.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Sadi. At this time, I'm going to ask President Pro Tem Nartates if you have any questions.
Thank you. This is President Pro Tem Nartates for Director of Finance. If you could send that to all of us, Sadi's request. I'm having a little hard time following where the increase came from.
Yes,
Thank
this
you.
is Director McBride. I'm consolidating all the questions over the past 2 nights as well as this evening, and I'll be sending them to all the councilors.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, President Pro Tem Nartates. At this time, Councilor Burke, do you have any questions?
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Burke. On tab 41, Human Services and Senior Center Programs, I see there was in FY20 budgeted $2,000 for other supplies. It doesn't appear that any is spent, and it's been cut down to 1,000 this year. It just says miscellaneous supplies, so just not a lot of backup there. Just any information on what that kind of stuff is, and if cutting it's the right move, why, and also why that none has been spent so far this year. Thank you.
Okay, this is Coordinator Rasevic speaking. So that line item we usually use to pay for any supplies if we have events at the Senior Center. We haven't really used it in the past. When orders were placed, they were placed through what is their name? Through a company, and that those supplies were mainly associated with food expenses for the Senior Center, breakfast items and so forth. So we would charge any of the supplies, like, plastic utensils, plates, to the food items. So I think for that reason, that item was cut. And I asked for the $1,000 to be put in that place again, just again, if we have any larger events that require any of those supplies that we would use for the events. So like I said, anything that sort of, balloons or any plasticware or, items like that.
This is Councilor Burke. Thank you very much for the answer, and I have nothing further.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Burke. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Dice if you have any questions for Coordinator Rasevic.
This is, thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Dice. I noticed, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for continuing service throughout this this trying time, and for reaching out to our seniors and providing services. With that being said, I just reviewing your budget for the Wheaton Fund, which is on 50, tab 50.
Okay.
I was thankful to see an increase in arts and craft because I noticed a lot of seniors was talking about that event. But I was just wondering why were there just a slight increase in transportation, which is a main issue that is needed for our seniors, and then a reduction in cooking. And I was just wondering, how did you come with that? With that reduction and with that just a little bit of increase.
Okay. So you're asking specific to the Wheaton Fund, right?
Yes, I am. This is, yes.
Okay. Okay. So the transportation line item from the Wheaton Fund. So just to give you a little bit of a background, we have not received our endowment for this year through Wheaton Fund because we didn't have a chance to meet with the committee. We had plans to meet at the beginning of April, but with the onset of the pandemic, that was postponed, so we never received endowment. And the proposal that I was going to propose to the committee has not been proposed yet. So the item, the transfers, the amounts that you see are transfers, rollovers from previous fiscal year into current fiscal year. So that's what the Wheaton Committee has asked us to do. Any money that has not been spent in previous years has to roll over into current years. The transportation line item is for the rental of charter bus that takes seniors to Big E every year. Any money that is left over under that line item, which is probably a couple of $100s from one fiscal year into the another, we have, with the permission of the Wheaton Funds Committee, we've used to purchase a subscription of the day paper for the senior center. The paper's delivered to the center, and then all the seniors get to read the paper. So they're really, the numbers that you see in Wheaton Fund are actually rollovers from the previous year, rollover balances.
Thank you. This is Counselor Dice. Thank you for answering that question. So I just have to ask if you had a chance, and you're right, the meetings have been canceled because of what's been going on. With the budget that you going to be requesting this year, will it be an increase?
So every year before, hello? Hello?
Yes, this is President Dominguez speaking. We can hear you. I don't know if Councilor Dice was done with her question. Let me just, Coordinator Rezovic, let me just make sure that she was done. Councilor Dice, are you set with your question?
Councilor Dice, yes, I was set. I was just hoping that they were going to be asking for more. And I was wondering, is that going to be something that she's going to be asking this year, just because amount of services that they provide there?
Okay, so to answer your question, every year, and this is something that was set by the Community Foundation and the Wheaton Committee, years prior to me coming to work for the city senior center. Every year they give us an amount of endowment, which is little over $20,000. So based on the proposed amount that they give us, I proposed how we would like to spend the money. So that's why you see those different line items like music or entertainment, and you see arts and crafts, and you see education and transportation and so forth. So those line items were created by me, and they were informed by the input and requests from our seniors. And so then the amount that the Community Foundation gives us of the total endowment amount is actually preset by the foundation, by the Community Foundation. And I think I would like to give you just a little bit of an overview of the services that we provide. I think that would maybe add a little bit of clarity to some of the questions that you have about the programs at the senior center, because I understand why you're asking a question about why we haven't asked for more given the amount of services that we provide. So, if the time allows, I would like to provide just a little bit of a background. I apologize, I should have done that first, so.
Coordinator Rezovic, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess to start from the beginning, our New London Senior Center is a community focal point where our New London residents who are 55 years of age and older come together for various services and to meet needs of their everyday living. Our senior center is open 5 days per week, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. throughout the year, excluding the major national holidays. Approximately of the 4,600 people who use our senior center, 200 to 300 take advantage of our recreational programs and other services on a weekly basis. And in our pre-pandemic and God willing post-pandemic time, we provide a number of services, and I will, go through the general categories of the services we provide. And so the way that these services are funded, some are funded through the city, others are funded through the grants that I have, and portions of the, some of the programs that we offer are administered by neighboring and community organizations that we have built relationships with over the years. So, we have transportation services. We take our seniors to and from the senior center, to senior outings, medical appointments, and grocery shopping. I provide benefits counseling. I answer Medicare questions. I help people connect to appropriate departments in the Department of Social Services if they have questions about food stamps or any cash assistance or any, insurance questions that they may have. We host TVCCA Senior Cafe at the Senior Center. We host Renters Rebate Program, which is administered by the Policy of Office by the Office of Policy Management by the state of Connecticut. We also distribute farmers market coupons, which is administered by the State Department of Agriculture. We host and distribute food pantry for seniors. Our food pantry boxes come from the Connecticut Food Bank in Wallingford. We work with the Maturity Works organization, which employs seniors in the community. We host senior foot care clinics, so that's a collaboration with VNA here in New London, and that service for our seniors, it's a free foot care clinic for our residents of New London who are 55 years and older, and that service is paid by the Palmer Grant, Lewis Palmer Grant fund. I'm sure that comes across your desk every year. We provide income tax assistance, and that assistance is provided by AARP volunteers who work at our senior center from February until April 15. We provide computer lab access to our seniors and computer or IT education once a year in collaboration with the Public Library of New London. We provide, special events, entertainment, leisure activities. We host TVCCA Veterans Coffee House in collaboration with TVCCA. We have a thrift shop on site, which features items that have been donated by residents of New London to our senior center. We provide volunteer and leadership opportunities to our seniors. So of those major groups of or categories of programs that we host at the senior center, like I said, some are paid by the grants, others are paid by city, and the last category is either donated or paid by the neighboring organizations in our community. So, for example, craft classes, education classes, a lot of entertainment and music programs are paid by the Wheaton Fund. Like I said earlier, the foot care clinic is paid for by the Palmer Fund. And we also have a small grant that is through Community Foundation. It's a Women and Girls fund that helps support residents of New London, women who are at least 62 years of age. I know those are very specific guidelines, but those are the guidelines that have been given to us. So at this time, in response to COVID-19 pandemic, as you know, because we serve the most vulnerable population in the city, we had to make a number of programmatic changes to our senior center, and it has been a very dynamic time for our senior center. We're making changes. I mean, we have started making changes. I'm looking at the dates right now, beginning on March 16th, and the last implemented change that we have, you know, in works right now takes effect this coming Monday, April 13th. So just some of the things that I would like to put in your ear, you know, when you're out there interacting with our seniors in the community, you know, and I know that this time that's mostly, you know, virtual communication, but our senior center recreational activities, including excursions, have been suspended. Our secretary, Joyce Brown, she's conducting daily well-being checks. She's making daily phone calls to our seniors, asking them how they're doing, you know, asking if there are any needs of resources. And if she notices or somebody reports something to her that's a red flag, she contacts me, and then we contact appropriate departments and authorities to try to help these seniors. We had to suspend on medical transportation beginning with this coming Monday, April 13th. We're hoping it's a very short-term discontinuation of medical services. Luckily, those seniors, it was a small group of seniors who use our transportation for dialysis. They have alternative transportation for the time being, you know, given that a lot of their families are either not working or working from home at this time. We have discontinued our group grocery shopping trips, and we have volunteers. I have developed a very good relationship with our U.S. Coast Guard Academy, and we have volunteers who conduct grocery shopping for our seniors at this time. They also help deliver food pantry boxes to our seniors who are homebound. We have worked out with a plan with TVCCA, who provided meals at our senior center, you know, in the pre-pandemic time. At this time, we have a curbside pickup where TVCCA staff bags the meals for our seniors on Mondays for the week, and the seniors drive by or with their families and to pick up their meals. For those seniors who are homebound, TVCCA delivers meals to their doorstep. Our tax preparation assistance has been suspended mid-season, unfortunately, and given that the tax deadline has been extended to July 15th, we are hoping that we will be able to get those AARP volunteers back, and we can resume our tax assistance preparation for our seniors. Renters rebate program has been put on hold. We're asking the program participants to gather all their necessary documents and call us every couple of weeks for the updates on the program. We're hoping that, you know, we will be reopening sooner rather than later and resuming this very valuable program to a lot of our low-income seniors and disabled residents in New London who are renting and depend on this end-of-year stipend from the Office of Policy and Management through the Renters Rebate Program. We still conduct on-site senior food pantry distribution on Mondays between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And starting this Monday, we will be coordinating delivery of the food pantry boxes to our seniors who are homebound. And I think that's all I have for you as far as the updates. Yep, that's it. Any questions?
President Dominguez speaking. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Booker, do you have any questions for Coordinator Rezovic?
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is Counselor Booker. I just want to say thank you very much, Coordinator Rezovic, for your summary of all the programs that you have going on. I do have a question. On tab 41 of the Senior Center, how will the $5,000 decrease in other purchase, professional, and technical services have on the residents who use the Senior Center? Because I see that it pays for costs for evening exercise classes, cable, and water, and etc.
This is Coordinator Rasevic speaking. So this decrease should not have a significant impact. I have been able to shift some of the expenses from this line item onto Whedon Fund programming. So what this line item pays is the core of the Senior Center exercise classes, and that was the condition of the Whedon Fund committee. So they wanted to have a core of classes that would be paid by the city funds in order for the rest of the leisurely and recreational programs to be paid by the Whedon Fund. So I've taken the exercise classes and then, like you said, the cable bill, the water bill, and those are the services, the core services that are paid by the city. If you look at the previous years, the expense has been, I'm not sure if you have that in front of you, about $15,000. So I am comfortable with this number for this year, because I think, you know, I can moderate and just cover the rest of the programs by the Whedon funds that are coming in, that will hopefully be coming in uninterrupted by this pandemic. So
Thank you very much, Coordinator Resovic, and this is Council Booker. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
President Dominguez speaking. At this time, I want to once again thank Coordinator Rezovic, not only for her report, but also for standing in place of Ginny Milstein, who's the Human Services Director. We have a recess until 7 p.m. when we will have the rec department. So for now, we're done.
Mr. President?
Yes. Councilor Burke, I'm sorry. President.
Mr. President, if I could just maybe use this. Thank you. This is Councilor Burke. I just thought maybe we could use this time to recognize for all of our Jewish neighbors and Mrs. Director Milstein, happy Passover on this occasion.
President Dominguez speaking, thank you very much. That's greatly appreciated. Yes, thank you, Councilor Burke, for that. Okay, with that said, President Dominguez, we will recess until 7 p.m. for the rec department. At this time, we are returning to our budget hearing at 7 o'clock. Right now, we have Director of Recreation, Tommy Major. That's tab 36 and 38. 36, 37, and 38. At this time, we're going to have Director Tommy Major speak on behalf of the Recreation Department. Mr. Major, are you on?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You may proceed. You have 3 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to ask the counselors to ask you any questions that they may have. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to let you know that I have a vital person with me, not actually with me, but on another line, which is our youth coordinator, Sharon Bousquet. So there's going to be some times that I might have to ask her, ask her to assist me in certain times. So I just wanted to make you all aware, okay?
President Dominguez speaking. Yes, that is fine, sir. Welcome.
Okay.
Yep.
As it was stated before, my name is Tommy Major, and I'm the Director of Recreation. And the New London Recreation composes of 2 functional divisions, the Office Youth Affairs and the New London Recreation. The New London Recreation Division serves for residents of toddlers through seniors within the various programs, swimming, fitness, team sports, and enrichment events. The Office Youth Affairs receives many grants to support the programs of early childhood, teen counseling, teen employment, careers out of our lives, parent leadership courses, and juvenile justice system. Both divisions work as a team to collaborate with schools and partnership with other agencies to assist the betterment of our community. In conclusion, the hard work of the staff has given the department an opportunity and a situation where we're quite proud as to say we're the only national accredited agency in the state of Connecticut, one of the 4 in New England, and one of the 166 in the United States. That's the conclusion. And is there any questions?
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Director Tommy Major. Just to correct myself, that's tab 36, 37, 38 for recreation, and for youth service is 61, and for Camp New London will be 58. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Sadi, do you have any questions for either Director Major or I think it's Shannon, I'm sorry.
Sharon.
Sharon.
My question is actually to Finance Director McBride.
Okay.
Again, under tab number 36, Recreation Administration, payroll is budgeted $130,400. 2% of that would be $2,608. Yet we are showing a budget increase of $7,891. And that if in fact it's there, I would hope that some of that money could be used to increase the salary of our Director of Recreation because they are one of the lowest paid in our salary range of directors. So the question is, why 7,600 as opposed to 2,608, Mr. McBride?
This is Director
David, can I
McBride.
assist?
Once again, sorry, go ahead, Director.
Well, actually, the whole situation is that technically that is going to be for an upgrade for the secretary due to the fact that there's an increase in her workload, and she is a hard working, diligent individual who's actually really one of the vitals and a backbone of the programs, and I definitely feel that is more worthy for her than myself.
Well, you answered the question, Mr. Major. Thank you very much.
But I'm not going to say I don't deserve any more money, but I'm just saying that sum of money should definitely be for her.
This is President Dominguez. Thank
No,
you.
no further questions on that, in that area. Thank you. Councilor Sadi signing off.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Sadi, and well said, Mr. Major. At this time, we are going to have President Pro Tem Nartates for any questions for Director Major.
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is President Pro Tem Hurtado. On tab 37, there is a line item increase for $28,000, and the description is Avery Point Pool, restrooms at parks, stamp machine, and storage bins. So this is a question, I guess, for the Director of Finance. That's a pretty big increase. Why the big change?
This is Director McBride. I'll provide some detail, and then if Sharon or Director Major can opine and provide some additional information. But we've gone back throughout the year numerous different times on some items. One of the items is space rentals for the items that are going to be removed or have been removed from the Martin Center. There's a rental of bins that are needed for those for the 12-month period. That's about $3,000. There's also some childhood center space rental that needs to be completed, and that's, I believe it was $9,000. There's also some buoys for swim areas. But probably the most important matter is that we have allocated some funding in the rental area through the joint use agreement that we're working with the schools in order to provide the Recreation Department the ability to rent space at the schools next year. That agreement and everything's still being worked out in terms of the level of the detail and the amounts that it will be, but we did allocate some funding for them to be able to rent space at the schools for next year.
Okay. Thank you. This is President Pro Tem Hurtado. Thank you, Director of Finance. My next question is on tab 38. And I'm questioning the line item for $9,600. And this is a new line item for the rental of Shiloh. Can you speak to that, Director of Finance?
That actually is not for Shiloh. It's for the nursery program that we are going to be renting out.
Can you elaborate, please?
Well, as you do know that we had to move out of the Martin Center, so we had a program of childhood program, which is for the youth. Office of Youth Affairs, and so that's what we had to move to another place, and that's where that money is going to for that rent.
Thank you. Just quickly, this is President Pro Tem Hurtado. I see that Director Reyes is on the line. Director Reyes, did you have a comment? You can go ahead. Regarding
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Council. This is Director Reyes. Just to add a little bit more of history to that, the child development has been there since last September. The Office of Economic Development used money through our, I believe, Parcel J to fund them through the fiscal year. And this is the new fiscal year. So we put that, so the Parks and Rec Department now have it in their budget instead of our budget.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. This is President Pro Tem Hurtado. I don't have any other questions. Thank you, President Dominguez.
President Dominguez responding. Thank you, President Pro Tem Nartates. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Burke, do you have any questions for the Recreation Department?
Thank you, President Dominguez. My first question was just asked by President Pro Tem Nartates, so thank you very much for the answer on that. And I don't have anything else at the moment. Thank you very much.
Okay, President Dominguez responding. Thank you, Councilor Burke. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Dice, do you have any questions for the Recreation Department?
This is Councilor Dice. Thank you, President Dominguez. My question was answered, but I just have a statement to make, is that I so appreciate the Recreation Department with their partnership throughout the community, because many children are getting swim lessons, and thanks to them for over the years. And I have to say hats off to Alan Klutner for doing the grant writing for Office of Youth Affairs, because I tell you, I was just impressed with the amount of money that she brings in to provide employment for our children and other programs. So I just want to say thank you, Director Major, for all that you do in our community, and I'm hoping for a great summer.
President
Well, I'd
Dominguez.
like to thank you.
Yep.
I would like to thank you for recognizing Ellen, because she does do a great job, and I on her behalf do appreciate what you're saying.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Dice, and also Recreation Director Tommy Major. I do have a comment for the New London Youth Affairs. The budget shows $491,400. That's the fiscal year proposed for 2021. What was the amount for this year, 2019?
I would have to get an assist from Director of Finance.
Okay.
David, if you would please assist me, because
This is Director McBride. I apologize. Which tab and what was the question? I kind
I'm
of
sorry.
lost.
Yeah, I wanted to, President Dominguez speaking, I wanted to go to tab 61, the New London Youth Affairs. And it's about just the amount of money that through grants that is being brought in, which is incredible. I mean, this department is run, or this area is run really without any city help at all. I see that. So I know that they have a budget proposed for 2021 of $491,400, and I just wanted to know what was the amount that was proposed for last year or the year prior.
This is Director McBride. It's not on this analysis. I'll have to provide that along with some of the other information.
Okay, I just want to thank you.
This is Deputy Director Reinhardt. This is the first year we're asking the Office of Youth Affairs to do a budget. Normally last year, as she got a grant, we would appropriate it. We thought if she could do a budget of the grants that she at least knew she was getting, we wouldn't have to go to council for these small appropriations of $25, $50. So this is not all she'll get, but this is what she's pretty sure she's going to get in fiscal year 21. But last year we didn't have her do a budget. So that's why there's no FY20 information.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Deputy Director Reinhardt, for that information. And just quickly, I mean, it's just incredible that ever since I've been a city councilor, I've seen the amount of money that has been brought to the New London Youth Affairs. So I do want to thank Councilor Dice for bringing that up. It's incredible. I mean, I don't know how long that Ellen has been with us in the city, but she is an incredible asset to our city, to our youth, and to our children, for all the programs that through her Youth Affairs has been brought to and made available for our residents, especially our teens. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Booker if you have any questions.
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Booker. I do have a question for tab 37. Can you please explain the added $16,990 for travel and transportation? What will this be used for, as it was not in the budget for this year?
Thank you very much for asking that question. What happened was Sharon did an outstanding job last year. Last year we did not receive any money, and what happened was that a grant was proposed, an opportunity for a grant, and that's how. But it was only a one-time service to the Recreation Department, and so I'm begging and pleading for us to, and we also utilize. I apologize for not actually answering. It's for our camp programs that we have in the summertime, or or in the summertime for us to travel and let the kids see that there's another great side of the world other than New London. So we go to trips and events for our summer programs.
Okay, thank you very much, Director
It's
Major.
it's for buses and busing. It's for busing actually,
It's for busing.
and going and picking up youth to take them down to Ocean Beach for free swimming lessons.
So taking the youth for swimming lessons to Ocean Beach.
Yes, not just Ocean Beach, but other events for our camps.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director.
Yes, I hope I'm saying it clearly because we try to assist on getting students to the camps or giving them access of getting free swimming lessons. So that's also a situation. And as I also stated to you before, we also try to collaborate with other agencies to help them out also. So that's why. It's not just for us, it's also to help other agencies too.
Thank you. This is Council Booker.
President Dominguez speaking. At this time, I will ask Councilor Goodwin if you have any questions for the Recreation Department.
Thank you, Councilor or President Dominguez. Councilor Goodwin speaking. Pleasure to speak to you, Mr. Majors. I'd also like to echo some of the sentiments from the other councilor, especially Councilor Dice. I am a testament or product of the rec department. My first job at, I think, 13 or 14 years old was through the Office of Youth Affairs as a teen organizer. So I am pleased to see that the mayor has worked with myself and other councilors on increasing monies to make sure that the Martin Center sale did not displace the ability for us to have indoor recreation and such. I do have a question with regards to the 17,000 that Councilor Booker was discussing with you just previously. What was the amount of the one-time grant that was awarded last year?
I'm going to get the assistance from Sharon. Sharon, could you assist me on that one? Because I want to be accurate.
Yes. This is Coordinator Bousquet, and the amount of the grant was $29,000 that we had received. And there was a small portion that was allocated to transportation, as well as advertising, as well as some of the staff for the program. It was the Commit to Health program that we ran transportation for MiFi, as well as the summer program at Link Nutrition with our children.
Got it. And assuming that's a decrease, will that be a decrease in services for this year, seeing how our match compared to what you guys got for the one time is less?
The transportation will not be, this is Coordinator Bousquet, the transportation will not be a decrease. The transportation will be, that will be sufficient for that.
The decrease will be seen on the services provided or the trips provided?
The decrease will be in the MiFi staffing that we have, and it will be in transportation for the MiFi program right now.
Got it. And if I have time really quickly, I think it's tab, what are we, 58 for Camp New London. I noticed for the program fees collected year over year, there is a decrease. This year, we're proposing there's going to be, I'm assuming, in receivables of 140,000. Is there a decrease in participation in that program? And I'm referencing tab 58 for programs fees collected.
Camp New London.
Well, due to that, this virus situation is, I hate to really say that there will be somewhat of a damper within our programs, but it's also all according to how long this is going to be. But we'll definitely, I foresee there could be increase due to the fact that we have many students who are homebound, and let me say this to you: it's going to be a situation in the summertime that parents are going to be overwhelmed and would like to have their child in our program. So it's a catch-22 right now.
If and I hope not, that the effects are not as painful as one can imagine. In the event that they are, and we see a decrease in those program fees collected, would that mean the services would remain the same as far as staffing, et cetera? Would that mean it would require a greater contribution from the general fund transfer or from us ourselves to cover those fees?
Well, the only thing I actually can say is that we'll do the best that we can in providing the best service that we can. But like I said, it's a catch-22.
And that's fair enough. I appreciate your time, Director. This is Councilor Goodwin speaking. And again, thank you for the tremendous amount of service that you guys provide. And I hope I can be more of assistance to you guys in the future as we go along. Back to you, President Dominguez.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Goodwin. At this time, I'm gonna rotate again. We have some time. I see Councilor Sadi, your hand was up, sir. Yep, you're on.
Thank you. So turning everybody's attention to section 58, which although in my whole punch book, you can't see it, it says Camp New London. And it talks about revenues that were garnered over the last 3 or 4 years. And it also talks about expenditures. Total expenditures in 2018 were $396,000. 2019, $375,000. 2020, $306,000, which is about a $100,000 decrease. Quickly, Mr. Major, would you mind explaining what Camp New London is?
Well, Camp New London is actually a program of ours that assists us on to provide programs, because it's a rural account that we've utilized, and so. But I also would like to for Sharon to also assist me on that.
Yes, this is Coordinator Bousquet. So Camp New London is kind of a balance between what we bring in, whether it be through grants, donations, and our revenue fees that we collect, as well as the city providing us a stipend to offset some of our staff costing. And then the expenses are based upon how many programs we're able to run with that incoming. The expenses are basically go back out for those instructors and all of our seasonal staff. So Camp New London, all of our seasonal staff and part-time staff, anyone who's not full-time, comes out of that Camp New London budget. So that income that we bring in is used to offset all those program expenses.
So that leads me to my next question, which will be to Director McBride. Although I do see a bottom line figure for proposed 2021, I don't see any of the areas populated, such as payroll, FICA, workers' comp, operating services, or whatever. So I'm a little bit concerned. Last year, it was proposed to cut Camp New London. And by not populating those areas, are we thinking about canceling this program?
No, that was an administrative oversight. This is Director McBride. That 331 was the total of several other areas. So we will have to revise this document. The 331 is correct, and it is the total. However, for some reason, this did not pick up the salary and some of the other items. So the numbers will not change, but your revised format will include the salary and the workers' comp and so forth.
When you say will not change, are you talking about the $186,000 for payroll, the $13,000 for FICA?
This is Director McBride. The total expenditures will still reconcile to the 331. However, the operating supplies will not be 331. It will be significantly less. It will probably be more in the range of the 120,000. And then the other amounts in payroll and FICA will contain some numbers. But it will not change the overall expenditure appropriation.
Thank you for your time. Glad to hear that the youth will continue to have summer programming, and that our youth, similar to what Mr. Goodwin said, our teens will have summer employment opportunities. No further questions at this time.
President Dominguez speaking. At this time, once again, on behalf of myself and all the councilors, we want to thank Director Mayor, Coordinator Busquet, and everyone that's on staff for running this department. And not only that, but for years getting awards on being an excellent Parks and Rec, being recognized nationally, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you for a job well done. And hopefully my echoes is the same with all councilors and yourself, is that this summer will be a great summer. And hopefully this COVID-19 will be a distance away or done with completely. Okay? So thank you for everything.
And thank you also.
You're welcome. President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Director Major. Director McBride, just a question. This is President Dominguez speaking. Are you in charge of the next department?
This is Director McBride. Yes, I will cover the next, I believe, 4 items with the assistance of Deputy Director Reinhardt.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, can we just go right into that? Councilors, can I get a thumbs up? Okay, all right, thank you. So we'll begin with that. Right now we are doing the Workers' Comp Fund, which is tab 56, Liability and Auto and Properties Insurance, tab 57, Benefits 45 and 46, and Interfund Transfers 47. Councilors, just make sure that when you have questions, just at least state the area in which your question is focused on. All right, so at this time, I'll ask Director McBride or Deputy Director Reinhardt to continue.
Okay, this is Director McBride. I'll give a quick, very quick overview for the 4 components. As I believe you're aware, the city's risk manager position, risk manager had resigned about a month ago or so. Deputy Director and myself have been involved in some of the risk management, some of these various areas. Tina Collins, the administrator, has also been very involved with the workers' comp issues. Without going into great detail, we are reviewing various consultants to provide some assistance for that. But in essence, this workers' comp fund, in a nutshell, is providing the revenues and the outflows for all the workers' comp items that we have. You'll see here the various components, the revenues coming in, the contribution from the general fund, some of the other items, most notably the workers' comp payments out of the $130,000. The various expenditures you'll see there, the consulting fees, the premiums that we pay to KERMA. That's per the policy. We usually enter into 3-year agreements with them. We're in the process of negotiating the fees for them this year. We expect it to be about the $570,000, and then the paid losses is the estimate based upon the prior year actuals of what we will pay for those losses throughout the year. I guess I'll entertain any questions. Do you want me to go through each one, or do you want to just answer questions for all 4 components?
I'd rather, you know what, if anyone has questions for any of the other components, that's fine too. If that's, I'd rather do it that way. So I'm the first person for question, the first councilor, excuse me, is President Pro Tem Nartates. You have the floor.
Thank you.
2 questions.
Thank you, President Dominguez. This is President Pro Tem Nartates. So I have one question for the Director of Finance. I noticed that the workers' comp fund is flat, and my question to you is insurance. Like the city's insurance is based on the DART rate, right? How much we're paying in workers' comp insurance. Is that so 2 questions. One, how do we see what our DART number is? And number 2, are those claims a combination of both the city side and the Board of Ed side? I'm talking about workers' comp.
Yeah, with regards to workers' comp, we have recently allocated all the workers' comp. The total agreement is an aggregate, the contract side with the city, but we do expense out or allocate out funds to the Board of Ed. for a portion of the premium. So it's a mixture between the Board of Ed and the city.
Okay, so both sides are paying the premium. Do you know what the DART rate is?
I do not. I
Do you
will
know
get
who
that.
it? Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, President Dominguez.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, President Pro Tem Nartatis. At this time, I'm going to call on Councilor Burke. Do you have any questions for Director McBride?
I do not have questions on the workers' comp funds. Still pulling up my notes from the other sections, so I'll release my time for now. Thank you very much.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Burke. We'll come back. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Dice, do you have any questions for Director McBride?
Thank you, President Dominguez. And this is Councilor Dice speaking. I just like to say thank you to the finance director, because I really appreciate how you consolidate, how you looked at each program. And I know we're dealing with this, and I know that you went through the training again to refresh yourself through the state or dealing with budgeting and so forth. So I'm going to reserve my question, because the main thing I just want to make sure that we're taking care of our requirements for the health insurance and then for retirement. So that's the only thing that I'm really concerned about in workman comp in this particular section. So thank you, President Dominguez. That's it.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Dice. At this time, Councilor Booker, do you have any questions for the finance director?
Yes, thank you, President Dominguez. This is Councilor Booker. I have a couple questions. For tab 56, workers' comp, what have the current expenditures been this year? And is there any concern in reducing the pay losses by $130,210? Councilor Booker.
Yeah, this is Director McBride. I'll have to get back to you on the exact that we were never able to work on throughout the year, was to take all of those cases and develop a listing of them and assign a probability. First of all, assign a dollar value to each case of what we think the loss will be, and then estimate a probability of each loss to come up with a better refined figure. So that has not been completed, but we will be completing it this year. That's our best estimate of what we expect next year's losses will be.
And Director McBride, when do you think it will be completed?
I would say it will probably be several months. Like I said, we're in the process right now digging in with KERMA, as well as a few consultants that we hope to enter into an agreement with rather quickly. And then once this budget season is over, myself
Healthy insurance budget decrease by $11,134. Tab 45, benefits.
Tab 45, benefits.
So the question again is, why are the healthy insurance budget decrease by $11,134?
This is Director McBride. This
Council Booker.
To be completely honest, it's a result of mortality. A few individuals are not no longer being provided benefits. I mean, this is the sum total of all the individuals that have received benefits, whether it's health insurance, life insurance, or the long and faithful, and a few of them have perished, so they're no longer receiving the benefits.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director McBride. I appreciate it. And that's all I have. No further questions. Thank you. Councilor Booker.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Booker. At this time, I have a comment and a question for Director McBride, and also to Director McBride, if you're able to answer. I know that it was mentioned, I think in the beginning, that the risk manager, we don't have a risk manager as of now. Knowing when I first started as a city councilor, how vital that role was in our city, how it saved us, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know if it was asked, but what are we doing to safeguard ourselves? I know this gentleman had put things in place, but in the near future, are we looking forward to hiring somebody soon? Because I know, again, I'll just repeat it again, it was just a tremendous hiring that we did, and he was a tremendous asset to our city with the amount of money that he was saving us. And the work
Yes,
that he
Mr.
was
Director
doing.
McBride, completely agree. I wasn't here over the past few years, but my understanding is he did put processes in place and help the city save thousands, if not more than hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he did a terrific job. He got everything up and operational. I think our goal now is to continue to do what he had done in the past with the city side and to really move that forward on the Board of Ed side. We firmly believe that there's lots of opportunities of what he had done on the city side that we could take and move forward into the Board of Ed side. With that being said, it's a difficult position to find, and we're not sure exactly if the best way to go is to hire an individual. What I will probably be coming back to you with rather quickly is a recommendation to bring in and outsource that immediately for possibly a short-term period, 3 months, just to keep things going as they are. And myself and Deputy Director Reinhardt, as well as Tina Collins, to continue to move that forward and not lose any traction for what was done previously. And then after a few months, evaluate on whether or not that position is needed, or whether or not we can continue to do it in-house with the help of kind of a part-time consultant to save the city some money. Because all in a position with benefits at 45% or so is significant, and we're hopeful we can do that much cheaper for the city.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you. Just one quick comment. If we do go that way, if it works out that we don't need anyone, would that be more responsibility on someone that already has enough responsibility? Do you know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to answer that now. Maybe that's for future. We can talk about it. We can talk about it, Director McBride. We don't have to answer it now. But that's just some food for thought that I'm thinking about for the future.
Good point taken. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilor Goodwin, please proceed.
You literally asked the questions I was going to ask, so I have no further questions. This is Councilor Goodwin speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. This is President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Booker. At this time, Councilor Sadi, do you have any questions for Director McBride?
Councilor Goodwin.
Huh?
You said Councilor Booker was good.
I'm sorry. No, I said Councilor Sadi, didn't I? I'm sorry. This is President Dominguez speaking. Councilor Sadi, do you have any questions?
I do. And this will be for Director McBride, workers' compensation. It shows, it looks as though 2020 budget was 1.38 million. Are you on the same page as me, Director
Yes, I
McBride?
am there. Yes.
All right, so do you follow that 1.38 million? And the proposed budget this year is 1.277, which is a reduction of 102,000.
Yep. Yes, I see that.
And I don't know whether you already talked about that or not.
We do expect, this is Director McBride, we do expect a drop in the policy from KERMA. I've had some information, nothing is formal, that we do expect a drop in the policy for this coming year. Once that becomes finalized, we can keep you informed.
So that bottom line figure is a KERMA contract?
This is Director McBride. No, I apologize if that's what I indicated. The contracted price, the premium that we pay to KERMA is a contracted price, and that would be reflective of the premiums line item. The decrease here is the expected, the major decrease in the budget is the expectation of the decrease in the paid losses being decreased for next year.
Okay, and so consulting, could you define what that is? Because we had it at 526, 509, and 550. But I thought when we talked about our risk manager, we stated that he was on contract for some years, but then he was brought on full-time after that. So
Yeah,
I'm
this
trying
is-
to figure out what the consulting, the premium, and the paid losses are. That's all Kerma?
Yeah, this is Director McBride. Just to clarify, the prior risk manager salary was in the salary tax and benefit under finance. This consulting $30,000 was an amount we had put in last year's budget that we continued in this year's budget. It was to potentially go out to bid for future policies. That's what that $30,000 reflects. The $577,500 under the line item premium is what would be the direct premium contractual price with Kerma that we share with the Board of Ed. That's our piece of the full piece. The 669 is the estimate of paid losses above and beyond the policy.
Okay, and then tab item 57. If you could just explain, those are, that's a special revenue fund, correct? And that's question, this is Councilor John Sadi, question for Mr. McBride.
Yes, this is Director McBride. 57 is special revenue fund liability auto property. That's for your insurance, and the various components are listed there.
Okay, then 45. Page 45 basically is talking about annual retirement benefits, if I believe if that's correct. It's titled Benefits, Early Retirement, Health and Lifelong and Faithful Pensions.
Yes, this is Director McBride. Tab 45 includes health insurance and health insurance for various agreements that were entered into with prior employees, life insurance similarly for prior employees, and the long and faithful pension for retirees.
And I believe last year we bumped a few very, very low pensions to a minimum of, I believe it was at least 12,000.
This is Director McBride. That's correct. Last year, you increased the budget for anyone that was under a certain threshold to bring them up to what the council believed was a good number, which was a 12,000.
And does that remain the same this year?
Yes, that number is the same.
So there is no sunset clause on what we did last year, if my understanding is correct?
Correct. My understanding is that 12,000 stayed there forever.
And then I have no further questions at this point in time. Thank you.
President Dominguez speaking. Thank you, Councilor Sadi. That's our first round. We still got a couple more minutes. Does anybody else have another question for Director McBride? Going once? Okay. If no one has any more questions, then that was the last department that we were going to cover. Then I'm going to call this meeting. I need a motion. Yes, let me call.
This is Councilor. I motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second from Councilor Burke?
I'll second that.
All right, President Pro Tem has seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. All right, guys. Hey, have a good night and check your emails, okay?
All right,
Did
good
you
night.
say to say I or by?
Oh,
I'm kidding you.
and for those that